last week, Michael, not on one of our shows, but somebody else's show. And it was freezing and unfreezing and freezing and unfreezing. And we're waiting for LinkedIn to come up. And let's see if it wants to come up. Where are you? We want to see ourselves here. Come on, you. Come on, you.
15 seconds.
Okay, I'm going to refresh the screen. We are already on live and
10 seconds. Going to send you that feed. Have a wonderful show.
Thank you. LinkedIn's not responding. Well, we're streaming anyway. We'll do the best we can here. Okay. We might have a freezing issue here today. All right. Everybody wave hello. Hello. Dance with me.
Welcome to Read My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives. Producer and host, akaRadioRed, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's akaRadioRed.
RadioRed in the house. I'm watching us live streaming on Restream. Not sure what services are getting us, but we're going to wave. Everybody wave hello to LinkedIn just in case we're there. Wave hello to Facebook, I hope. Wave hello to YouTube. At least we're streaming. RadioRed in the house. It's Monday. Where else would I be? I'm watching. Everybody looks so good already. Yes. This is my show where I get really interesting people, smart, savvy people who live with passion, whatever they do. It's not about singers and dancers and artists and photographers and sculptors. It's about real people, coaches and doctors and architects and cooks and people who do anything and everything. We're all creating our life, hopefully with passion. And my passion is just speaking to interesting, creative people. So that's it. Show's over. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, I have to tell you, I didn't rehearse this with my guests today. Before I introduce them, everybody, please make the shape of the letter L with your thumb and forefinger on either hand. There you go. And on the count of 3, you're going to join me in saying hello, L, L, L. 1, 2, 3. Hello,
Hello.
L, L, L.
L.
Okay, message to Michael, my engineer at Voice America Empowerment Channel. Michael, I think they just tied for first place on the most in sync, most together. Charisse likes that a lot. Yeah, so Michael, would you please note that this panel is in the running for number 1. There we go. LLL is lovely, lanky Laura Legs, our most loyal listener. She lives in Whitestone. I've been trying to get her to move to a place with an L. I told Michael, moved to Loudon, Tennessee a couple of years ago. I wanted to move to London. I was trying to get Laura to move to London, and I looked at a map. I have this bad habit of tilting my head, and the first N in London went upside down, and it turned into a U, and I ended up moving on Zoom. I never set a foot here until the house closed, to Loudon, Tennessee. Here you go. So anyway, bought a house, lots of property, lots of gardens. What can I tell you? And this is where I broadcast from. So Laura's in Whitestone, and we're still taking up a fake GoFundMe to try and move her to a place with an L, and she's welcome to come. I have a spare bedroom. She wants to move to Loudon with me. Today is June 24th. It is the 175th day of 2024. Gregorian calendar used to be Julian. Gregorian Pope Gregory said, "Hey, Ma, I don't like that. I'm going to move things around." He changed the leap days, changed the leap years. Back in the Julian calendar days, October was missing. Charisse, it was missing. If you had a birthday between October 3rd and 14th, you didn't get a birthday because there were no days on the calendar. It just went boop and skipped. So they felt bad for, I'm an October girl. So anyway, we have a better calendar now. 190 days remain. It's the 26th Monday of the year, and nobody gives a you-know-what except me about that. And now I'm going to introduce my special guest. So here we go. I have a little poem. I have created it with ChatGPT. And I worked on it. So it's part AI, part human. I had an MRI a couple months ago, and the doctor walked at 6'8", walked into the room and he said, "Great news, you have a brain." And I said, "Gee, that's really encouraging." So I can tell you that it's me. So here we go. In honor of, I think it's of you, Charisse, you'll find out, I'm naming this episode The Power of Unbreakable Creativity. I think you'll understand why. So here we go. When I call your name, just wave furiously at whoever is able to watch. I'm watching us live streaming. We look good. On this episode, wait, let me see. Let me get my opening here. Welcome to Read My Lips, where creativity flows. With akaRed and her Scarlett mic, the energy glows. You all see me glowing? On this, I tried to use powder. On this episode, the power of unbreakable creativity will explore with 3 inspiring creatives, their stories, and more. Okay, Charisse Walker, wave hello, a beacon of love's true might. From MS to healing, her journey shines bright. Flipping the iceberg, her method clear and grand, helps couples find depth and together walk hand in hand. Charisse, did you like that?
I love that.
Thank you.
That's
I rent the
great.
poems out. We can
I
negotiate if you
will.
want to
Please,
use it.
please do.
Michael M. Starr, you forgot the M on Zoom there. We'll have to put it in. Michael M. Starr, coach with adventurous flair, climbing Kilimanjaro, paddling with precision and care. From submarines to peace, his wisdom does impart, guiding businesses and souls with passion from the heart. Michael, what'd you think?
Beautiful. Let's put it to music.
All
Yes.
right, I can do that. I'll meet you after the show. And
Okay.
Dr. D. Carroll, a phoenix of her time, rising from relationship ashes, empowerment message soars and climbs. Author of Emotional Anticipation on her Quitting is Not an Option podcast, All Doubt Erases. Dr. D, did you like that?
I love it. I
Oh,
love it.
good. I like it when they love it.
More.
So tune in, dear audience. Here we are as we dive into stories exploring unbreakable creativity in all of its glories. It's plural, Charisse. With akaRadioRed and her Scarlett mic so true, Read My Lips Radio brings and curates inspiration for you. What'd y'all think? Pretty cool?
Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank
Impressive.
you.
That's
All
great.
right. Here's the pop quiz. If you've seen a show before, you can't answer it, so be honest. But how many minutes do you think it took ChatGPT when I put in a little opening, a little closing, and I gave it full bio for you, Charisse Walker, full bio for you, Michael M. Starr, full bio for you, Dr. D. Carroll? The text was like this long, and I hit submit. How many minutes do you think before the core of that poem was sent back to me? How many minutes? Put up your hands. If you think it's seconds, don't do anything. Okay, we're going to go. How many seconds do you think it took for ChatGPT to respond?
10 seconds.
Okay, D, 10 seconds. Michael, what do you think?
I've seen the show before.
Okay, good. Oh, we got an honest man here. Okay, the deal is it used to take 3.5 seconds, and a couple months ago it took 2.25 seconds, and now it is less than 1 second. I'm serious. I hit the enter submit button, and the poem is on the screen in front of me that fast. Michael, what do you think? You believe it?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I know. Well, the deal is, and you've heard me say this on the show, Michael, I have a friend who says, don't be polite to ChatGPT. These chatbots, they're not real people. They're just machine learning. They're trained. But, nice girl from New York, we learned to say please and thank you. So I say, good afternoon. How are you? And it says, wonderful. Thank you. How may I help you? And I said, well, I'd like you to write an opening monologue for my poem. And it says, sure. And then I put everything in and bingo. And I say thank you. And it says, great. If you need anything else, just let me know. I mean, we're having a conversation. When you live and work alone, you need the companionship. What can I tell you? My therapist keeps telling me to get some friends. So ChatGPT and Alexa, what can I tell you? Let's go around the table now. It's time for real introductions. And I am delighted to have the three of you here. In full disclosure, I met the three of you on a recent National Publicity Summit. Right? I was on Zoom and so were you, for about 3.5 hours. And I booked, I think, 38 people that evening. I speed book, and I didn't put the three of you together because I thought there were some synchronicities or commonalities. I just scheduled you, whether you were in the same breakout room or not, with each other. Bing, bing, bing. Are you free on June 24th? Yes, you're free. Yes, yes, yes. Bingo, bingo. Give me your email. Give me your phone number. And here you are. Sometimes my guests say, you put all three of us together. No, I never do. It's just the way it is. So, Charisse Walker, you are first. I'm putting you on a speaker view so everybody can see you. Would you please condense your full life into 3 minutes and tell us a little bit about how creativity works in your life, how it defines you, describes you? Charisse, welcome. Go ahead.
Well, thank you for the opportunity too. You're amazing. So I live in Utah. I guess I have to officially call myself a Utard now. And I am the mother of 6 children. So that's something I'm very, very proud of. And I love them all dearly. I think they're fantastic. So you have to be creative because every single child is completely different. But I actually am a product of a divorce and never thought I would be. So unfortunately, I found myself alone in a room crying on my bed one day and thinking I never want my kids to have to go through what I went through. And so in talking with my daughter one day about somebody who broke her heart as well, I came up with the book called Flipping the Iceberg, because 90% of a person, I believe they show below the surface, 10% above. And so if we flip that iceberg, then we can actually get to know the person before saying I do. So there's 2 secrets we talk about. In addition to that, I became very, very passionate about helping other women follow their dreams. And so I have a podcast called Unbreakable Mompreneurs, which is, I think, where you got that title. And I'm also a TV host of The American Dream. So it's a national Emmy-nominated TV show about American lifestyle and real estate. So by day, I'm a real estate agent and lender. And before that, I was a college director. So I started teaching at 22, and then I became the dean and then the director, and I opened up a college in the Valley. And realizing that I didn't want to spend 70 hours away from my children, I became an entrepreneur. So I have multiple companies that I run, and my biggest one that I'm passionate about is Moms Finding Hope. And so that's where I go, and I become a coach, a speaker. I'm an author. There's a few more books in the pipeline as well. And so I love helping people find their passion and their peace.
Wow. I have a question for you, Charisse.
Mm-hmm.
Do you sleep?
You know, I've been training for a marathon, and I'm going to be that big 5-0 this year. And it's just like that was one of the last things on my bucket list. And so I am sleeping more because of this marathon. I found that I do better if I'm actually get rest. It's a thing. So
wonderful.
It's hard, but no, I used to not 3 to 4 hours a night.
And do you eat breakfast? And one thing that's your favorite for breakfast to get your body and your mind woken up in the morning? One thing.
Okay, so this totally doesn't get my body and my mind woken up, but it's frosted mini wheats with either banana or strawberries. It's straw, so it's not.
I never asked that question, Charisse. Dr. D and Michael, I'm going to ask you the same question to play fair. Charisse, thank you so much. I appreciate your story, and very impressive. So I'm so happy you're here, and thank you. Let's move to Michael Starr. Michael, when you sent me your PR picture, you were on a mountaintop somewhere with a hat all the way pulled down. I had no idea what you looked like. And here you are in all your handsome glory. So nice to meet you for the second time, Michael Starr. I'm putting you on speaker view. Would you please regale us with who you are and what creativity means to you? Michael, go ahead.
Great to be with you, Red. I'm an avid adventurer and problem solver. I've climbed on Kilimanjaro, been on safari in the Serengeti. I canoed from Pittsburgh to New Orleans for 54 days. I've managed a $100 million a year manufacturing production line and operated a nuclear submarine as an officer in the Navy. Through all my travels, I came to see a lot of suffering, a lot of pain, a lot of conflict. And I began a quest, which really started about 25 years ago, and with this question: how and what can I do to reduce suffering, conflict, and despair that I see with so many people within my family, with my neighbors, my communities, my coworkers, and certainly within our country today. And in the search of that, I came up with two conclusions. One was obvious, that we are our own best enemies and we are our own best allies. But the other one is that the very language we use, our everyday language, has embedded within it self-fulfilling prophecies. They can either spiral us up and help us to be better, or spiral us down and take us into the abyss, or just have us go round and round. Like Einstein said, you know, it's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again. And I found that the everyday language we use really is inadequate, insufficient, and sometimes just downright dangerous. So I've created a new language, some new words, redefining some other words, and I've segregated language into 3 categories: wise, empowering language, dangerous language, and useless language. And in the book, I talk about how we can use wise, empowering language to solve problems, to make peace with the past, progress in the future, and live today free of resentment, anger, and despair. And my creativity really comes in glimpses and flashes. And I think it all begins where do you look? What are you pursuing? I look to the skies and I see those glimpses and flashes.
Thank you. Wow. Also very, very impressive. Very interesting. When did you climb Kilimanjaro, and when did you canoe? What is it? How many hours did you canoe, and how many states? Just fill us in just a little bit, Michael.
Yes, I climbed Kilimanjaro. It was 10 days at the young age of 69. That was 5 years ago. And Actually, the day after I came down, another lady came down and set the world record. She was 89 years old, and she set the world record for the oldest person to summit and come down.
I want to know what she
And
has for breakfast. Okay, go ahead.
yeah. Ann Lorimer is her name. And then I did the canoeing long time ago before everybody on this panel was born, which would have been about 1972. And it was 54 days, 1,800 miles.
He's very flattering, isn't he?
True.
We'll leave that one alone. And do you sleep, Michael? How many hours do you sleep, do you think?
I sleep a lot. I take a nap every day for about 45 minutes. Me and Benjamin Franklin, not that I would be in his category, and I normally sleep about 7 hours a night. Yeah.
Favorite food for breakfast, whether it wakes up your brain or not? What do you eat or drink?
Don't eat breakfast. I'm on intermittent fasting. I usually eat between noon and 2 o'clock. I have 2 hours, and I typically will start with mixed nuts and a banana and move my way on to some little entree like stuffed cabbage or stuffed peppers.
Oh, interesting to know. Thank you very much. Dr. D. Carroll, I'm so happy you're here. I'm putting you on speaker view. Tell us everything. Go ahead, D.
Thank you for this opportunity, RadioRed. Of course, I love to talk about me. I am, thank you. I am the middle child of 5, so I have always had to fight for my rights, always. And so I learned to do that very early. My first big job, I did my undergraduate studies in psychology. My graduate studies are in business administration and management. I created and ran a multi-million-dollar HR and management consulting firm for 28 years. During that time, I did some speaking, but there was no time to speak, so I had to put that on the back burner. After 28 years of drooling, beat down, 3 hours of sleep most nights, my CFO was caught with his hand in the till, running 2 sets of books, misappropriated over $2 million, and I lost everything. When I tell you everything, I lost my $1.5 million home. Of course, I lost the business. I lost all of my investments, my retirement income. I lost everything. Most importantly, I lost me. And so when you're caught up in that kind of situation where you're wondering what's next, you're realizing and appreciating why people commit suicide. I've always been a lover of life, and never could understand why someone would say, I'm going to just kill myself or do it. When you're so broken, when you're so battered, beat down, worn, scorned, with nothing in sight, nothing to hold on to, because I've been the go-to person. I said I'm the middle child. So I was always the go-to person fighting. I was the person that everybody came to for solutions. And now here I am. Needless to say, I learned what creativity really meant. Creativity is pulling yourself from the bottom of the barrel. It's pulling yourself out of the ashes. It's deciding quitting is never an option. I'm going to get back in the game and I'm going to do me. Came home late one night, very, very late from work and trying to salvage my business. And I'm dating myself a little bit. Turned on the tube, nothing but HBO, Showtime, the regular things. HBO and Showtime had all boxing, or they had comedians cursing every other word, right? So it's like none of that appealed to me, but out of the two, let me check out the boxing. This guy was beating his opponent to a pulp. Eyes swollen, blood running down his cheeks, the bell rang. They ran into the corner, the bell rang again, out they came. This time, they came out swinging. The guy who was getting the beat down throwing punches left and right, landing some and missing others. But all of a sudden, he mustered up enough strength to knock out cold the guy who was beating him down. And what's the moral to that story? The moral to that story, and taught me what creativity really meant, was if he had thrown in the towel when he couldn't see, if he had thrown in the towel when his eyes were swollen, blood running down his cheeks, but he didn't. He came back swinging and he won the fight. So the moral is to stay in the game, stay in the fight. I don't care what's happening, because you don't know. You may just win. So winning is creativity when the odds are against you, when you don't know which way to go. So here I am. I'm an author 3 times over, international #1 bestseller, Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places, emotional emancipation, which is what I went through. So it's my true story. But my #1 goal right now, and I do life coaching, executive coaching, lunch and learns, the gamut, consulting with businesses. The key thing, I think, in everybody's life is knowing that life happen moments will find you. And when they do, you want to find the chutzpah, you want to find the grit, the determination to kick butt and stay in the fight.
Thank you, Dr. D. That was some bio. I think it was very interesting. You had 2 choices, the foul-mouthed comedians. I did comedy, but it was always clean. Vibrator was the worst word I ever used. And yeah, in some places that wasn't welcomed either. Yeah, some very conservative people. Leave that word alone. But boxing, isn't that interesting? You got a moral, you got a gut-wrenching view of what happens. And that's your podcast. Quitting is not an option. Isn't that interesting? Just briefly, who's your audience, Dr. D?
Oh, I love working with women because somehow I think we've had an unfair advantage, but it's pretty much open. I have people from all around the world. I just interviewed someone from Melbourne, Australia, who was legally blind. Now she's an inspirational speaker and an author. But I take people from all walks of life because I want to know that we are inspiring and empowering individuals to move beyond.
Absolutely. What do you have for breakfast, Dr. D? One food or drink. We've had Michael's, we've had Charisse's. What powers you or not?
A mini kind bar.
Really? Which flavor?
That's the go-to. The sea salt and dark chocolate.
Oh, nice. I had to give up
Because it's
salt.
quick.
It's quick. I had to give up salt recently, so I'm very envious of that. I'm salt not salt suspicious. I'm salt vulnerable. Let's put it that way. I'll tell you all later on what's going on. I'm wearing my compression socks today. What can I tell you? It comes and goes. Anyway, I thank you all for the bios. Fascinating people. I love the differences, but I think we're all talking about the same thing, aren't we? Surviving, thriving, coming back from whatever, finding a way, finding peace, finding something in our heads that says, let's go on and let's do it better than before, better than ever. And by the way, my go-to drink in the morning is 8 ounces of 1% milk and a handful of frozen mixed berries. I usually get a couple strawberries in there, blackberries and blueberries, a little squirt of agave syrup instead of sugar. Yes. And maybe a little tiny bit of vanilla ice cream if I'm feeling like a bad girl, and 1 or half of a banana, depending on how ripe and how big the banana is. I put it in one of those personal blenders and go, there's no on or off. You just push the button, and then I give it 7 little squirts. Because my grandpuppy dogs stand by the door. They go, woof, woof, woof. So I do 7 little roughs, and then I have a cleanable plastic straw, a recyclable straw. No more little plastic straws. And I drink that at my desk, and that's my go-to drink in the morning. And then an English muffin with peanut butter. That's my go-to also. That's my protein. Okay, everybody, enough about what we're eating and drinking. Let's go to the part of the show where I've asked each of you to please send me a quote from a fictional character in a movie or a TV show or a song lyric. I'm going to read a little background, just a tiny bit. I did my lookups here. I love to research these quotes. I'll give you the line in the whatever you quoted here and a little background, and then I want you to take about 2-3 minutes. We're about halfway through, so we've had long bios, but I love it. Tell us what this has to do with your creativity. Charisse Walker has picked a quote from The Townie, played by Rob Schneider. The movie is The Waterboy, 1998 sports comedy film. That's funny because when you think of sports, you don't often think of comedy, but now we do. Schneider reprises this role in Adam Sandler's 2000 film Little Nicky, and in turn, Sandler plays the same townie in Schneider's film The Animal. That's interesting. Blah, 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 blah. Sandler stars with Kathy Bates, Henry Winkler, Jerry Reed. Very interesting. Lots of interesting people. The story, Bobby Boucher, 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 is a socially inept, stuttering 31-year-old serving as the water boy for the University of Louisiana Cougars football team, lives with his extremely religious, protective mother, Helen, and believes his father died of dehydration in the Sahara in the Peace Corps. Oh my, I'm going to leave it there. Here's the quote. You can do it. Is this the Nike ad? You can do it. Charisse, 2 minutes. What does this have to do with your creativity? Dee loves this one. Go ahead, Charisse.
So I always think, especially now, it's you can do it. You can do it. Because, a couple of years ago, my husband and I had just gotten married, and I had a family member come and say, hey, I have this great investment opportunity. And long story short, we were $200,000 in the hole. Then I had a best friend that came and said, I have this great investment opportunity. And next thing you know, $200,000 in the hole. So we were $400,000 in the hole on food stamps. And it was a rough go, and we pulled ourselves out within a couple of years. Our life, because of real estate investing that we do, has completely changed our life. That's how I became a real estate agent and a lender. And I just think there's so many problems and there's so many things that we face every day. And so this phrase started coming in my mind all the time. It's you can do it, you can do it. And so I really just believe that anytime that anything happens, you can do it. You can get yourself out of it. There's so much more than 2 minutes. I'm so passionate about it, but because
take another minute. Go ahead.
Because of all that we've been through, and especially now that I have adult children, you can do anything that you set your mind to. When I was a teacher, I think that my life-changing moment happened when all of these students, it was proprietary education, and these students who had come and been told, I cannot accomplish anything, or I've been told you're never going to amount to anything, you're a loser, you're this or you're that. And to watch them walk across that graduation stage 2 years, 4 years later, I'm like, you can do it. And to be able to be that cheerleader who I used to be in high school as well. And so I just believe that if you set your mind to anything, you really can achieve it. And so when I start to find myself getting down in the dumps, like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to accomplish this, that little voice comes back saying, you can do it. And so that's why I love that quote. And
Thank you.
This morning.
Sorry, I missed the accent. You can do it. You can do it. I'll tell you, people come to me with ideas all the time, but my biggest investment is they talk me into buying new website domains for this business they want to do with me, and then I never hear from them again. So my therapist and I are trying to figure out why, as soon as I make the commitment to buy the domain and let's get started, they're gone. So I've got a lot of domains I'm paying for, but they all have good names. We'll talk about it. Yeah, nobody's ever hit me for that kind of money, and I would have to say no. But interesting. Thank you very much. I think we're on the short quote list today. Michael's quote is only 3 words. You had a 4-word quote, Charisse. I don't know what Dr. D's is. I'll look in a second. Michael has picked a quote from The Borg. Alien group, cybernetic organism, Star Trek, The Next Generation, TNG, American, sci-fi TV series created by Gene Roddenberry, 1987 to 94 in syndication, 178 episodes over 7 seasons. The Borg have become a symbol in popular culture for any juggernaut against which resistance is futile. That's the quote, a common phrase uttered by the Borg. I'm going to stop there. Michael, rescue me. What does this got to do with creativity? Go ahead.
What a great intro. I love it. Well, I said I was on this 25-year quest to figure out how to reduce suffering and help guide people. I run a business called Executive Coaching Services, along with a few other things that I do. And of course, language came up to be the primary tool. Improve your language, improve your thinking, improve the reality that you see and how you respond to it. So it's about changing the way we think. One of the things I think there's a tendency to avoid is surrender. And as you know, Radio Red, I am active in Al-Anon, which is an organization that assists families of alcoholics. I'm also active in NAMI, which is the National Association of Mental Illness, which is another organization that supports families with mental illness. And I have had and do have those situations in my family, and I know a lot of people in those areas. And when you think of alcoholism, I think we all quickly jump to the serenity of, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Surrender is so valuable because what we resist will persist. And until we surrender to the reality of what is, objectively, without emotion, not what we want, not with judgment. In my book, I talk about a term called contra-identities, where there's a tendency in society worldwide to define ourselves in opposition to others. I'm good because you're bad. I'm smart because you're stupid. I'm intelligent because you're a moron. The whole kind of, instead of being defined by merit, I'm a great trumpet player, I'm a great drummer, or I'm a really good writer, or I really know how to nurture children and learning how to play instruments. There's this tendency to go towards these contra-identities. And when we accept the fact that there's what I call in the book, it's called NEWT, the natural order things, that people cannot help being who they are. Events were destined to become as they became, given their background, their parents, their socioeconomic status, their birth order, their geography, their era in which they were born, their genetics. It was inevitable that Dr. D became who she became, Charisse became who she became, and Mother Teresa became who she became. And there's no need to put any emotion to it. There's no need to necessarily make it grand or make it bad, whether you're Genghis Khan or Mother Teresa. It was inevitable that they would become that way. And so let's lead with empathy. Let's lead with understanding they couldn't help be who they are. Then we move on to wise boundaries with dispassionate consequences. Take out all the emotion. And to resist the reality that, hey, someone has a tendency to be maybe short-tempered, or someone has a tendency to anger quickly. There's a reason why they are the way they are. And so as long as we resist the realities of what is, the objective reality, we're unlikely to make any substantive progress. So not just accept it, I say embrace it, because if we know where the quicksand is, we don't step there. If we know where the cliffs are, we don't step over the cliffs. We know where the walls are, we don't bang our head against it. And we're able to navigate a path, a way forward in our journey in life that really is rewarding and going to produce the progress and success we achieve and want to achieve.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I think we're all appreciating this. I'm seeing and hearing so many threads among the four of us already. Isn't that interesting? We're people, right? That's a synchronicity. We're people and we live and we have been living. There we go. Dr. D, thank you, Michael. Dr. D has picked an 8-word quote. What are you trying to do, lady? We had a 3-word quote, a 4-word quote. I get quotes that are so long you wouldn't believe it. This is a quote from a 1980 song by American country music singer Johnny Lee, who was born Johnny Lee Ham, H-A-M, 1946. He's a baby. 1980 single became a crossover hit #1 for 3 weeks on the Billboard Country Singles Chart, top 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, top 10 on the Adult Contemporary Chart. Soundtrack from the 1980 hit movie Urban Cowboy, mostly shot at Mickey Gilley's Club in Texas, included the song, and it catapulted the singer to fame. Johnny Lee, I didn't know this, had 17 top 40 country hits in the early and mid 80s. He grew up on a dairy farm, which is now part of Santa Fe. He formed a rock and roll band, Johnny Lee and the Roadrunners, after high school. He enlisted in the U.S. Navy, served on the USS Chicago guided missile cruiser, and he legally changed his name from John Lee Ham to Johnny Lee, and he worked for 10 years at Mickey Gilley's Club. And here, of course, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, I'm looking for love and all. I try not to sing, it ruins the show. Dr. D, looking for love in all the wrong places. That's the name of your book, isn't it? Go ahead. Talk to us. How'd you pick this one? Duh.
I selected looking for love in all the wrong places based on my personal life. And I told you I was the middle child of 5, and 1 boy, 4 girls. My oldest sister was always the person who got everything. Why? Because she was the oldest. My brother got everything because he's the only boy. And my 2 little sisters, they were the babies. So there was a reason for them being in the forefront, but I was always behind. And for that reason, I subconsciously thought I was not loved. You know, am I loved around this joint? What's going on around here? And I would always be reassured by my mom, never my dad, because he didn't have time to listen to me because he thought it was nonsense. As I grew up, I wanted to do something with myself. It was always about proving. And the first marriage was right out of high school. In 6 months, I was getting smacked around, beat down. And so, of course, you know, unbeknownst to him, I left. I went away to college, got there. This guy would not leave me alone. I was a bit insecure in the love department because I didn't know what love really meant. Got married again. That didn't work out because he was a manager and he managed everything, including me. Well, of course, that wasn't going to last. Went on, stayed out there for 11 years. My godmother sent the guy that she thought was perfect. He walked on water and could leap tall buildings in a single bound.
Does he have a brother? Sorry. Go ahead.
Several of them, to be exact. Okay. But no, so the age difference, he was 9 years older than me. And so it's like, okay. And he really tried, but he had a master manipulator called Mom that was managing everything. So here I am, I'm running this big business and I'm doing my thing. And it's like, oh, I'm going through the same thing I grew up with. So of course that wasn't going to work. Last but not least, my sister is an attorney and she does work for all the big banks and, you know, she has her own practice, but she does a lot of work for them. So this guy came through at a big event they had and he was top, he was a broker, real estate, he did all these great things. And so she goes, D, you have to meet this guy because I had thrown in the gloves at that time. I'm done. Well, I met him and sure enough, it's like, okay, here I go again. Once again. But the moral to this story is self-love comes from within. Mm-hmm. And we teach people how to love us. So if you don't love yourself, you can't possibly teach or parlay that information to anyone else. So I'm here to say love is kind, it's good, it's all these great things. Not though, if you look in the mirror and you're not in love with who's staring back at you. So looking for love in all the wrong places is very timely for all of us. If you've not been in love, if you've been in for a good long time, your marriage is successful, it can enhance who you are and enhance your relationship if you love you.
Thank you, Dr. D. Look in the mirror, man in the mirror, woman in the mirror, right? Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all. Very interesting quotes, very interesting explanations to creativity. I'm going to pick one statement from each of you. I asked you to send a couple statements on your creativity. I'm picking one from each of you. You don't have to go find it. I will read it. Charisse, I'm looking at your statement number 3. I like this. Michael, I'll pick one for you, one for Dr. D, and then I have some wonderful trivia, some famous and infamous birthdays and events in music history on this day. I want to save 6 minutes for that at the end. So let's do this. Oh, Charisse says, I love to think outside the box and be different. I like to have different perspectives. I tend to go against the norm. I used to be a people pleaser who never wanted to rock the boat. However, When I taught college, I made grown men do activities and experiments that opened their minds to new ideas. Here we go. We'd sit in a circle, push the desks out of the way so we could talk. I do peer pressure exercises to prove a point. I made them wear pink collars and sit on the floor to illustrate discrimination, and constantly did activities to bring real situations to life. 2 minutes each. We got to go around the table. All right, you get 3 because you were short on the quote. Go ahead, Charisse. 3 minutes. It's yours. Go.
Oh, yes. I love teaching sociology, and that's what it was. And to go with what Dr. D said in my book, I told you there's 2 secrets to healing yourself and being able to, before you say I do, you need to do. And I got a lot of the information, like I even reference it in my book, about peer pressure. And I did used to be that people pleaser because I didn't love myself. I didn't know who I was. And it actually wasn't until my first marriage that I realized how much I was pleasing other people and how traumatized I was as a child. And so realizing that trauma and understanding that we all have these icebergs that sit in the water, waiting to tear into our relationship. And so in my book, I take you through like a whole bunch of exercises to help you identify the trauma, to help you love yourself and realize who you are so you can think clearly. Like Dr. D said, that you have to be able to love yourself and know who you are, and being able to heal yourself so that you can think clearly. And so as a teacher, I would take, because I live in Utah, and so it's predominantly, I mean, it's changing. It significantly has changed since I started teaching, but I'd have boys, because they're all boys. I'd have like 1 or 2 girls. So a lot of the guys, I'd stand at the entrance and say, hello, and I'd look at their eyes. And if they had brown eyes, they were able to go sit in a chair. If they had blue eyes, they were given these pink collars and made to sit on the floor. And we would do this whole, I would lecture for about 20-25 minutes, and the brown-eyed people would say, oh, that's so stupid, or you bluey, or you do this or that. And I'd have to stop about 25 minutes into it. I could probably never get away with this now, let's be honest with you. But
Yes.
but it was becoming so intense that these blue-eyed people would be so angry. And so I'd have them all get into get back in their desks, and I'd say, now I want you to imagine you having to deal with that every single day of your life because of the color of your skin, or because of the color of your hair, or because of your, whatever it is, your accent, and trying to get people who are predominantly more of a white Caucasian look to understand a different perspective. And then I would do peer pressure, where we would have, and actually it's in my book, I would hold up 3 lines, and there'd be one person that would go out of the room, and I'd tell everyone, just go along with, give the right answer a couple of times. And then whoever gives the wrong answer, I want you to all go along with that. And we'd see if this person would end up going along with it as well. And every single time, and this I did for years, every single time you would have these people that they'd go along with the wrong answer because they're afraid of standing out. They're afraid of being different. And so we would talk about that at the end. And then I'd take them on a hike. I'd say, okay, I just want you guys to hike. And so we'd go, I'll see you up at the top of this little mountain. It was called Ensign Peak. And every single time, I've done this with young women because I volunteer with about 25 young women. And so we do it with women. We do it with the people that I used to manage. I'd have 100 employees. We do it with my students. No matter what, you'd always have 3 groups of people. You have those energizer bunnies that just go like, I'm going to make it to the top. And they have to like be the best, the perfect, the firstborns, right? And then you have the middle people who'd be like, oh, that's a beautiful flower. And oh, this is a nice trail. And they'd enjoy the ride, but they'd continue to get up there without complaints. Those are your supporters or middle children. And then you'd have are we there yet? Do I have to do this? And you'd have what I'd call, sorry if your name's Nellie, but the negative Nellies or negative Nels, right? And so like, there's always 3 groups of people. And so we talk about the type of person, the type of people, and you need all of them in an organization, not the negatives, but the do as you're told type people. And so those are the type of things that I'm one of those that I love activities to bring reality through, learning opportunities.
I love that. I have never, you're right, you wouldn't have gotten away with much of that today. The PC police would be up your what. But anyway, we don't get into politics here. And yes, waking up is another word for that. Thank you. Very, very interesting. Now, did you come up with these strategies on your own? Did you read about them, study somebody who did these, Charisse?
No, so a few things I would read or watch like a TV show where you'd have a white person, a black person go into a store, and then they would visibly show, they'd record people and see what happens with those people. But I'm not this huge race person. Like I don't see, my great grandfather was African American, and so I just want people to love each other and look past that. And so I would come up with very creative ways to I used to sit in a class and I'd fall asleep immediately. And so it's like, how can I have these students for 4 hours? It'd be a 4-hour class, not fall asleep. Let's make it real. So I just came up with them.
Thank you. I'll tell you later how I used to teach eBay selling for adult ed on Long Island. And I had people who were doctors, lawyers, people who were managers come for this class from 7 to 10 p.m. And I had a strategy for keeping them awake. They all had their own PC. It was a little lab, but I'll tell you later. Thank you, Michael. You say, as a coach, I'm in statement number 4. As a coach, I approach each client with a clean slate and ask questions to help them determine what is truly important in their lives. They determine the destination. I guide the journey so it is fun and fruitful. 3 minutes max. Michael, what's this all about? Talk, please.
Well, building on loving yourself. I'm not a big fan of loving yourself. I am a fan of being your own best friend. I know what that means to be your own best friend, because I will tell you, I don't have by choice a lot of friends, but the friends I have are very solid. So why do I have people as friends? Very simple, because of their behavior. How they behave. Do they listen to me? Are they fun to be with? Are my successes their successes? Do we share things? So I say, you can't love yourself if you're not your own best friend, and if your behavior is not congruent with your values, then you won't be your own best friend, and you don't deserve to love yourself. So you have to begin, and I begin this with my clients. We develop something called the 10 convictions, and we spend a couple of months developing what do they truly believe in their heart of hearts. And once we understand what our convictions are, or at least come to the point, then we can evaluate our life and saying, are my actions, is my life in alignment with my convictions? If your life is not in alignment with your convictions, you don't deserve to love yourself. You are not your own best friend. If my wife was here and you asked her, who's Mike's best friend? She'd say, he's his own best friend. I have spent a lifetime being clear about what I believe in. Be my word, be empathetic towards others, have gratitude for the simple things in life, be confident that my actions are driven by my values. I'm real clear about who I am and what I do and why I do it. And I do that with my clients so that they can learn to become their own best friends. Because if you're your own best friend, you can love, which is a word that I have a lot of issues with. You can love yourself and learn to love others, but it begins with understanding who I am and what's important. And after you have those convictions, because clients come to me, they say, I want to make more money, I want to get a promotion, I want to deal with my girlfriend, or whatever the case may be. But the time we're done, sometimes they realize maybe there's something more important they need to work on, more fundamental in their life in terms of their values and their alignment, to give them the peace, progress, and healing that they deserve and desire.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. Dee, I'm giving you 3 minutes. Let's look at your creativity statement number 1. You say creativity is designing and reshaping my life story, including my vision and my mission. First chapter is birth, last chapter is death. All the chapters in between represent, some people call it the dash, the life I've lived. The other option is to allow it to be designed for you. So taking charge. Dee, 3 minutes, a tight 3 minutes. Go ahead. We got a lot to do. Welcome. Go.
Thank you. The first chapter story, the first chapter of your life, is your birth. The last chapter is your death, and all the chapters in between. So you have the longest time in between to do exactly what you want to do. And so I equate that to a journey. I equate that to a race. We're all running a race. Your life consists of this journey. So when you decide to take a trip or go on a journey, you carefully lay out that journey. You lay out the plan. How long is it going to take me? What route am I going to take? Am I flying? Am I taking the train. What am I going to do on this journey? You also have plans for how to get there. But all too often, we fail to do that with our lives. And life is a journey. Life is a race that's set before you that you have to run. So if you don't lay out that journey, if you don't lay out what that race is going to look like, what it's going to consist of, how you plan to get there, you may wind up anywhere. So it's crucial that we all look at this story of life. It's crucial that we look at the journey, the race, and we have to find joy in the journey. But what we don't know right off is you have to create the joy. The joy is inside. And so you have to allow that to flow. Don't be marred by any crazy situation. Leap over it, go around and get to your desired destination, feeling good and loving you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad we have a disparity of opinions on loving and being your own best friend, but I think I have a feeling you're both saying the same thing, just coming at it from different angles, I think. And I love all of you. There you go. So there. I have some special trivia here. We're going to play for a couple minutes. If you want to say happy birthday to anybody when I get to the famous birthdays, you can. But right now, let's do music history. June 24th, 1966. Richard Carpenter, with his sister Karen on the drums, had the Richard Carpenter Trio. They won the Battle of the Bands at the Hollywood Bowl, 1966. In 1982, Jeff Daniel of Shalimar, the group Shalimar, did the moonwalk on British TV, Top of the Pops. Guess who was watching? Michael Jackson. He popularized it in the U.S. a year later. He got it from this Jeffrey Daniel. In 1992, Billy Joel finally got his high school diploma from Hicksville High School. I'm from Long Island. He didn't graduate in 1967 because he missed an English credit. So in 1992, they finally gave him his high school diploma. I thought that was pretty funny. In 2000 on this day, Kiss auctioned off $888,000 worth of costumes, instruments, and tour memorabilia, including Gene Simmons' Psycho Circus tour wear, including the codpiece, which sold for $32,200. Michael, you missed that one. In 2004, Doris Day, remember the movie star Doris Day? She received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2004. In 2021 on this day, a section of Van Arsdale Place in Teaneck, New Jersey was renamed Isley Brothers Way because they were formed there and they named their record label T-Neck. T-Neck, so they named Isley Brothers Way in their honor. Today is Mindy Kaling's birthday, 44 years old, actress who played Kelly Kapoor on The Office, had her own TV show, The Mindy Project. She voices characters in Despicable Me, Wreck-It Ralph, Inside Out. Let's see now, Lionel Messi. Some of you may know who he is. He's a soccer star, soccer forward, who played with FC Barcelona, captain of Argentina's national team, and he won all kinds of awards over the years, and he was a major star. He's 37, young still. Solange Knowles, Beyonce's younger sister, is 38 today. How about that? She had an album in 2016 called A Seat at the Table, her first #1 in the U.S. She started singing at age 5 in an amusement park. That's when she made her debut. Okay, here we go. You've never heard of these people. They're having a birthday today, and I'll tell you why we're celebrating it on YouTube. Jack Sucks at Life. How's that for a name, Dr. D. Carroll? One word, Jack Sucks at Life. He's 28. Why are we celebrating his birthday? Because he has 4.5 million subscribers. I've got 30. 4.5 million. He is real name Jack Massey Welsh. He originally posted Minecraft. That's a game-centric content. He shifted to YouTube play buttons. The Guinness Book of World Record honored him as the person with the most YouTube channels with 100,000 plus subscribers. Any of you have 100,000 subscribers? I'm still working on my first 50. Anyway, TikTok, we have another one. Nick Bensavengo is 21 today. Why? He's got 4.3 million followers, but on TikTok, he's got 181 million likes. Michael, what do you think of that? He's a TikTok star. He's a dancer and actor, and he's also on YouTube, and he lip syncs to popular music. 181 million likes. Dee, that hurts us, doesn't it? Today, June 24th, is Farmer Day in Peru. Dia del Campesino, happy that day. It's National Pralines Day, which they think came from a French sugar industrialist and a diplomat, César Duc de Choiseul, the Comte de Plessis-Poisson, who used a special powder called praline to make sugar-coated nuts. It's Swim a Lap Day. Swimming goes back 7,000 years. Didn't know that. It's International Upcycling Day. Not recycling, upcycling. Take a soda bottle, make a flower vase out of it, stick a flower in it. Don't recycle it. Upscale it. Use it for something else. It's Insect Week, if you want to learn about entomology. I don't. It's National Pollinator Week. Bzz, bzz, and it's Rabbit Week. You're supposed to become aware of and get educated about the forgotten pet, the rabbits. June is a month of microchipping your pet. Accordion awareness. If you know an accordion, say hello to it. Adopt a cat. Audiobook month. Beautiful in your skin month. We want to be. Camping month, DJ month, entrepreneurs, do-it-yourself marketing month, fireworks safety month, please. Foster a pet month, give a bunch of balloons month. That's for you, Michael. Home ownership month, that's for me. Surf music month, National Rose month, perennial gardening month, oceans and rivers, and women's golf month, zoo and aquarium month. And the foods that we honor this month are, the 1 minute left, iced tea. That's not a food. Lemon, cucumber, mango, candy, dairy. That's not a food. Country cooking. That's food. Frozen yogurt, national fresh fruit and vegetables, turkey lovers. What? And Georgia blueberries. Okay, here we go. We're closing now, and don't go away, guests. Stick around because we have a lot to talk about after. So in 2014, I closed with the top 10 tips for women for Dr. D and Charisse. You're Dr. Charisse now. And the number one tip was aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. And she still does. Here we go. Closing words. Got to run. Life is short. Break the rules. Forgive quickly. Kiss slowly. Love truly. Laugh uncontrollably. And never regret anything that made you smile. Finally, work like you don't need the money. Dance like no one's watching. When I taught disco in a high school cafeteria, high heels in front of 250 people, they all watched. Sing like nobody's listening. Love like you've never been hurt. Money talks. Chocolate sings. And last but not least, I stole this line from a host 20 years ago. Thank you for turning me on. Radio Red signing off. Everybody wave goodbye to wherever we're streaming. I've been watching us. It looks great. Michael, our engineer, thank you. And Michael, are we out?
We are out.